Hey there, I hope everyone's doing well. Again, sorry for taking so long. It's hard to make the video on the side. For anyone who might be wondering about the healing wound on my face, people who know me know I grew up around guns. I got invited to shoot with some family friends. I got invited to shoot a 450 caliber, which I learned was substantially larger than rounds I've shot before. And then when I shot it, it hit me back in my sunglasses. And I took them off immediately, and I was like, oh, sweet, my sunglasses are fine. And then I felt blood pouring down my face, and I was like, oh, okay. So, member of the Scope Gang now. This next cognitive error is a certified classic, and also, if I had to highlight potentially Trump's favorite and most pressing, most prolific cognitive error, it'd probably be this one. This cognitive error is superoptimism, which is defined as adopting unrealistic beliefs of positive outcomes without realistic evidence supporting that, or when evidence is directly contradicting the likelihood of positive outcomes. This is one you see quite a bit in my field, substance abuse psychology, as well as gambling addiction psychology. But it's also something that humans feel in general. I have super optimism. Everyone in the world has super optimism at times, where we have either an unrealistic goal that we set that we don't really abide by in the end, or if we enter into dangerous situations with realism, oh, it'll be fine. I think it's summarized pretty well in Trump's recent words.
Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen.
This is one of Trump's favorite cognitive errors that he displays all the time. And I said in a previous video on super optimism how Trump's main demographic that he targets has always been low propensity and low information voters. And because this demographic doesn't have much information and doesn't really have a good understanding of policy, economics, foreign entanglements, the Constitution, Trump is able to make very exaggerated claims. And while the well of empty promises is not exclusive and shared between parties, Trump has truly run the well dry. Whether that be the wall that Mexico is going to pay for being the partial wall that American taxpayers pay for, or whether that be wildly asserting that he could eliminate the $19 trillion national debt while only then adding $8 trillion to it, and then going on to become the third largest contributor to our national deficit, only behind George W. Bush and Abraham Lincoln during the Civil War, or wildly asserting that he could end the Ukrainian war in 24 hours, which I also think was pretty tasteless to my Ukrainian friends. And according to my handy-dandy watch, it has not been 24 hours. He's a little overdue. Or him and Elon Musk wildly asserting that they could eliminate $2 trillion from the national budget, which slowly became a more modest $1 trillion, which then became a more modest, as time went on, $500 billion, which ended up to a measly $150 billion. And it being $150 billion that you have to stack against the Congress report of the budget, which found that after their measure once, cut twice tactics and their layoffs, their rehires, their administrative leaves, and just their messy approach of how they handled the entire hiring process, ended up costing taxpayers $135 billion, which you stack against. And also, it looks a little bit more suspicious when you add the element of Elon Musk ignoring the Pentagon and other dubious areas and putting a lot of attention on the departments that had his company's subsidies. And these were all claims that people touted and bashed their chest about. And all of this is latent with super optimism, betraying extremely optimistic pie-in-the-sky beliefs, which people then adopt and believe and buy into, which leads to the usual outcome of super optimism, which is cheap momentum of behaviors and of energy towards disappointing or sometimes dangerous outcomes, which just seems to be the status quo for the least popular president in modern United States history. But wait, there's more. Being as this is Trump's favorite cognitive error, at least in his top three, I would say we are going to go a bit farther and do a super optimism bonus round. this is a dynamic I pointed out to a lot of my family members, which really opened their eyes, is that whenever Trump starts to struggle, which he usually always is struggling, but more than usual into where his supporters will start to notice, Trump usually throws out a line of super optimism for people to latch onto. Not only is Trump in his assertions super optimistic, Trump also wants you to be super optimistic as well. Whether that be when people were questioning, is Elon Musk going through the Treasury Department and looking at our Social Security data constitutional? Suddenly there was this announcement of $5,000 Doge checks that could be given to every American citizen. And after they had bought the consent and Musk was able to go through and do his things, the $5,000 checks went from $5,000 to $875 to what are you talking about? Or when Trump supporters were slowly finding out basic economics and that foreign countries don't pay the tariffs,
you get by tariff.
They pay the tariffs. And then Trump wildly asserted baselessly that tariffs could replace income tax. Isn't that great? Or my personal favorite one was in December of 2020 when Trump had lost the election and it was slowly becoming apparent that his election fraud claims weren't sticking. When he stood before the American people and asserted that the next administration should give them a third COVID check of $2,000, which was unprecedented and also is decently selfless because the Republicans hated that idea and he was sticking himself out to say that. And I was thinking, wow, this is like a Trump thing that I think is good faith and I can support. And before my positive emotions could consolidate, he finished his sentence with, and maybe that next administration will be me. And I was like, oh, okay, buddy, I see the game here. And the dynamic of this, as I told my family, is whenever Trump is struggling, or when his supporters, the most crucial of people who look past his flaws, finally start to see them, Trump dangles a fishhook with a dollar bill attached to it to manufacture your consent and pull you forward into supporting unconstitutional, un-American things.
I got you $1. Oh, you almost had it. You gotta be quicker than that.
And the only thing I ask, as our Constitution is flailing and our economy is slowly going into shambles, is that maybe people will consider no longer buying it. So that is super optimism. It's a very important cognitive error in everyone's personal lives. Super optimism is really something great to be mindful of. But then, as well, cognitive error that's being weaponized by truly the most exaggerated expectations administration in United States history. So, anyways, thank you for listening. I hope you will consider it, and I hope it's helpful as people process all the crazy things that are going on. And as always, thank you for watching, and go out there and make this world a more honest place, because that is what we need.